Welcome back into Proving Grounds. We're getting ready for Game 2 to start this all off. It's been exciting already, getting a Tryndamere to start off Proving Grounds for Cloud9 Academy to take Game 1 as well. Sam, that was wild, right?
Yeah, unexpected, but at the same time, there was a lot of strength that had. We also talked through the break, and, the last person in North America to play Tryndamere was Darshan. And the matchup into Gangplank. So this might just be a pocket pick that he loves to pull out, especially in Academy, where he can really flex on this pick. And let's take a look at the last game where Dignitas Mirage, it looked good after the first blood, but then this play comes down and Cloud9 Academy, they bite back.
Exactly. It kind of was a blunder where they needed to recall a bit further back to be able to really make use of that. And from there, it gave Cloud9 all these small little gaps that they were able to exploit of Dignitas Mirage to keep getting themselves further and further ahead. And this is something we had mentioned, that it was difficult for Dignitas Mirage because how do you fight back when it's not even major mistakes? It's just minor ones that are exploited so thoroughly by Cloud9.
It was just such a team composition that was so geared against Skarner that I feel like in this next draft they have to think about, do we draft the Skarner early or do we wait to see if they're going to draft Ezreal, Karma, Orianna again? Because there just wasn't anything he could do the entire time. And Cloud9 Academy, they capitalized with their poke comp. King and Isles are just playing the lane that they know. And Dignitas Mirage, what could they really do against this comp?
It was difficult. It was definitely difficult going up since pretty much most of the lanes were winning for Cloud9 Academy. It feels like just on Dignitas Mirage, they gotta have maybe a lane or two more that are able to actually push back and rotate to help out Hyami. So it's not fully Surenfire out-rotating and out-clearing this Skarner as Udyr tends to do. And maybe even go with like Olaf for Hyami, just to be able to maintain pace against Surenfire, because clearly the Udyr pick is going to do what Udyr does best, which is clear out really quickly.
Well, what we've learned is that also there was a side select for Dignitas Mirage, and they selected red side, so they're going for the rerun, and I feel like they're going to ban away the Udyr this time. The 3 bans were good. I believe it was the Seraphine, Tristana, and Gnar. I feel like you could give up that Gnar, put Udyr into that slot instead, and make sure that first pick is a little less powerful, because, man, Udyr is just such a threat and has been for the last, month or so on this patch.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, well, yes, the Tryndamere counter pick into Gangplank for Darshan is interesting. Gnar is one of the most played champions by Darshan in his entire career. And with Gnar being in the current position that he is this great top lane pick that has a few counters, but it's something that really can fit into most compositions, it makes sense that they don't want to take, they don't want to give that over to Darshan. But like you said, it's like, what do you fear more, the Gnar or the Udyr? Which one are you willing to give up? Or are you even willing to give up like Seraphine, Tristana? It's a difficult thing to ask for Dignitas Mirage if they want to go for the full run back, or if they do want to have these minor adaptations, knowing full well Cloud9 are probably just going to take whatever's left open.
At the very least, I feel like the core of Dignitas Mirage's comp last time was fine. It had the Jinx, the Hyper Carry, it had the Victor, the Scaling, it had the Gangplank for a lot of team play. But it's the Skarner pick. That was the only thing that I think could really be criticized about that composition. Everything else was perfectly fine and great into Cloud9 Academy, with one minor change. The Olaf that you talked about could be great. They could even play into something a little more aggressive. If they wanted to play something like the Kindred for like incredible amounts of damage, they very much could. They just need to think about what Cloud9 Academy are going to draft and really wait on a couple more of those picks. I feel like Thresh in the second round would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, it could definitely be something a little bit more like Kindred, but I'd be surprised still if we saw that, just because I feel like one of the things they were missing was into a heavy poke comp like Cloud9 Academy had drafted, was something that could, survive. That's something that could really absorb that, and Hyami just was too far behind Surenfire to be able to really keep up. And I'm kind of looking to see what they're going to be able to draft. If we're going to even see, like, going into mid lane for Copy and DNA, maybe something really consistent. The Orianna Victor might be something that they go for yet again, since DNA does like to play that Victor. It's not like that's outside of his wheelhouse. If Syndra's usually banned, it's Orianna or Victor for him. Copy on the other side. Orianna's a pick that does play pretty well, but Zoe is another pick that I kind of might expect to see depending on what we get coming in from Dignitas Mirage.
Volibear also a possibility. I think that one just kind of blanked my mind for a quick second, but that could also work just as well. Really depends on, though, if Dignitas Mirage choose to play a lot more of that early aggressive style, bringing Dragoon down and not locking him to the top side. I feel like that, again, was one of the biggest problems that they had in the last game, but over the course of several tournaments have shown that that's their strength. So hopefully they bring that in, and that this game looks a lot different, especially in the early, especially capitalizing on First Blood.
See, this might sound weird, but I actually almost wonder if the one pick I'd like to see changed isn't even Hyami on the Skarner, but maybe put Dragoon onto Set. And Set is a pick that I feel like has kind of been overlooked for a long time. A lot of people are so used to his flexibility and something that you can kind of change around. But we've been seeing him topside really starting to take over a lot more, and this is something Dragoon is very comfortable playing. I am coming from casting over in the LPL and back over here into North America and Amateur and into the Proving Grounds here for Academy. But Set is a pick that we're starting to see on 11.5, 11.6 become a lot stronger because it plays so well into so many different matchups, especially early on where you can try to be able to take over, and having Dragoon on something that might be able to win out the lane a little bit more to then team up with Hyami could be that way that they can find success.
I feel like both are definitely an option, and really Set is the sort of pick that we've seen Dragoon on, and he does really well, especially if he gets that early lead against his opponent. But into Darshan, especially this particular matchup, it's going to be really tough, especially if Hyami decides to go more bot to mid side, which we saw in the last game. Maybe that's an adjustment that they're choosing to make. Maybe it's not. But either way, Dignitas Mirage, they have options. They've shown that they can fight back. They just need to maybe rein it in and maybe not get picked out as much as the game goes on, because during the mid game, I also have to point out, there were a few times where we saw King just kind of walking into the jungle, dying, or maybe walking into the river, dying, because the vision wasn't sufficient quite yet. And Cloud9 Academy had already taken advantage of that topside vision. So maybe changing that up as well could very well put them on a good path.
Exactly. And these are all questions, obviously, that will be answered when we get into Champion Select. We can theorize all we want, but you just never know. Like, who would have thought before going into this day that we'd see Tryndamere get picked into our first game of Proving Grounds? Not I, that's for sure. And I like weird picks. I've said this for sure, like, for many, many years, that I like anything that is wild and different and out there, but I did not expect to see that going to start it all off.
No, that's definitely one of those picks that Darshan can always pull out. I don't know that we'll ever see it again, if I'm being perfectly honest, but if it happens, it happens. I feel like he's happy to run the mirror match if he wants to, but we are getting ever closer to Champ Select, and maybe we'll see something even different out of Darshan, because he has a champion Ocean as far as I know, so anything is in the possibility.
Well, with a player with a storied career as he has, he pretty much can play almost anything in that top lane and be able to make it his kingdom. So I'm not too surprised to see, you just look up the stats on how Darshan plays. But this is why I kind of like this matchup with Darshan going up against Dragoon. It's a good test of strength for Dragoon to try to show everyone coming into this Proving Grounds why he's someone that you gotta look at. And that goes for the rest of Dignitas Mirage as well. Trying to be able to really prove themselves. And I mean, hell, it's in the name of Proving Grounds. These players are here to be able to kind of show off that they are the upcoming players that teams really need to start paying attention to. Coffee was one of those players last year, where he was on 100 Thieves Next, getting picked up by Cloud9 Academy, and you can see now how he's able to perform, how he's able to do with this team. He's looking so strong.
He really has been surprising throughout this entire tournament, and even through the regular season coming out for Cloud9 Academy. I feel like he's always been kind of the anchor, the rock. He never made the showy, flashy plays that you might expect from star mid laners, but when you have someone who can play control mages, that can go without dying, that can win their matchups more often than not, and stay in a reasonable CS discrepancy, that's the sort of player that you're looking for. Someone solid, someone adaptable, and someone who's going to be able to gel with the team more than make themselves the star.
So sorry about the delay. We did have a little bit of an issue. Hopefully we're getting that fixed here in just a second. It was just a missed ban, so we had to remake a little bit, get it all set up. But I do believe that we are actually getting into Champions Select for Game 2 between Cloud9 Academy and Dignitas Mirage. And unfortunately, Darius is never going to see the light of day in Dragoon's hands.
I would be beyond amazed. It looks like Cloud9 Academy Just going to continue the same band. So far, nothing has changed, but it's always that third band that makes things interesting for Dignitas Mirage. I feel like Cloud9 Academy, they have no real reason to change anything up. They're more than happy to play that game once again.
Oh, but look at that. We're actually getting it pretty fast. Instead of Tristana, it's going to be the Karma into that bot lane, taking away that poke-heavy style that King and Isles were able to play the last time around. Ezreal, well, yes, he could still see play here for Cloud9 Academy. I wouldn't be as inclined to imagine that that would be what they'd want to fall back to unless they maybe go for something like Ezreal and Yuumi. That is something that is an option. But we'll have to see, as Thresh actually being banned away by Cloud9.
So much targeting onto the support more than anything else. I feel like they might have definitely pulled the compositions together respectively, but that's not necessarily the focus of anything. I feel like Dignitas Mirage could very much take the Skarner, and maybe that's what the Karma ban was for, is to feel more comfortable in their flexibility in the jungle. But there's still so many things that are powerful. The Tristana's left open, and I feel like Cloud9 Academy are going to take that away on the first pick.
Lulu band, of course, Udyr, like you were talking about, immediately locked in by Cloud9 Academy. We expected that if it was left open, Fire would be very confident going back onto that. But it's interesting to see so much of that support pool pinched by both teams. And I'm expecting Jinx, Tom, Kench, since we already kind of highlighted that before, getting the weak side bot lane, something they could fall back to. But Yami actually listened to us, is going to Olaf as opposed to going for that Skarner.
And the Rel going to be picked up, another top tier support, considering how much the pool has been picked from the Enchanters. Going to have to go for the tanky engage that we've seen so much over the amateur tournaments over the last month. Tristana as well, being left open, surprisingly going that far in the draft, going to be picked up probably for King, but is also a flexible pick, so really could go anywhere mid or AD.
I mean, we've even seen in top lane. There is the potential that Tristana can go top lane, but I'm expecting it to be in the hands of King. Especially having a Tristana Rel bot lane. It's something that has got a lot of all-in potential that we oftentimes see try to be able to bully around, but Alistar is something that can negate that to a degree, make it a little bit safer for Meech on this Jinx to be able to kind of poke out this Tristana and be relatively safe.
Especially with Thresh banned, I feel like that makes the most sense going over to this TK. Although it would be good to keep Meech safe, it wouldn't give the engage potential or the disengage potential that Alistar gives, especially against the rocket jump coming in from Tristana. Now the second ban phase is going to be underway. Looks like top laners are still on the table for Cloud9 Academy. Maybe the Tryndamere gets banned, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what we actually get as that ban coming in from the side of Dignitas Mirage, if it's going to be more of the top lane pool. But we do have a little bit of an issue. Hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted in just a minute and let you all know what that was.
We have received word that, in fact, there was a player not ready for Dignitas Mirage, and therefore that ban is just going to be forfeit for the time being.
Well, you gotta be paying attention. That's the whole idea of the counter up there. So losing that out, but we get the Cho'Gath ban away by Cloud9 Academy. Same as last time. I wonder if they're gonna opt for Scion as well. While Dignitas Mirage kind of hanging on, seeing what they're gonna be able to take away from themselves. They are going to take away the Tryndamere, which makes me think that it's going to be Gangplank picked up pretty fast once we get back, unless it's banned here.
I feel like that isn't the most prudent of bans. As you talked about, Gnar still very much on the table, and that's a reasonable matchup into Gangplank anyway. So the Tryndamere ban really just fear out of Dignitas Mirage more than strategy, if I'm looking at this right.
I think so as well. Maybe not confident playing against Darshan's Tryndamere again. Even if it wasn't the most spectacular performance in Game 1, it was enough to strike fear into the hearts of Dragoon. I'm expecting to see that Gangplank picked here, or Gnar, as you mentioned, that Gnar is something that is still up and could be taken. Actually, going with Aatrox as opposed to either.
So this is actually a pretty good matchup into Gnar. So if Cloud9 Academy decides to pick that Gnar, it's going to be a lot harder than you would expect for a Gangplank. And I feel like Dragoon has played this a number of times early on in tournaments just to make sure that he felt confident. It's a carry style champion that really fits him, and he will be forced to get off the island, which Dignitas Mirage need him to do.
And it is one of those picks that it kind of feels a similar style to Darius, so of course Dragoon is very happy playing that one, with Cloud9 Academy grabbing themselves that Orianna again for copy, which makes me think that DNA probably going to go back onto Victor. but I know you're looking at that Malphite hover right now. Darshan could go for that to be able to try to negate Aatrox, make it so that top lane is going to be a lot less of a spicy pick, but wow. Oh, man.
Darshan has pulled this before. He's played the Vayne top in the regular season, but he didn't win with it, so that's something to take in mind. It's going to be tough, but certainly the early poke advantage is going to go over to him, and I feel like that early gold advantage may translate into something interesting. The team fight going to be slightly weaker from Cloud9 Academy. However, with Rel and Orianna, you already have the package set up. I don't know how much more you need.
I did forget about that. The Syndra was actually not banned this time. It was the Thresh. So Syndra locked in for DNA, pretty much the fallback that he likes to be able to go for. It doesn't matter if it's not into the Zoe. Going to be a decent matchup still into Orianna, the control mage. Not really the Victor, but still similar kind of niche style. Wait.
Okay. We talked about flexibility.
Okay. It could be, but we don't know just yet. And Vayne Rel is actually even more of an aggressive lane into Jinx than the Tristana Rel. So I'm curious to see if they're going to actually trade that last minute or not. Vayne is something that we've seen actually draft into a lot of these lanes, the Jinx and Alistar lanes, but with that last minute swap, knowing that it is going to be Darshan taking Vayne.
Okay, just trying to bait the casters and the audience. That's in fact not going to be the case. I feel like the Tristana Rel just gives so many more options than the Vayne Rel, because Vayne has to stay back. There's not a whole lot of range that she can offer. Tristana, on the other hand, has the wave clear early on, has the ability to capitalize on Rel engages, and with the ability to just kind of go in and go out, there's a lot more flexibility versus King than Vayne, who really just kind of has to stay in his range the entire time to do damage.
See, I wanted to look up to see the last time Darshan played this Vayne so that we actually know. It was into an Aatrox as well. So as we jump in, game 2 between Cloud9 Academy and Dignitas Mirage, we have Dignitas Mirage all grouped up. They are going for the Death Brush.
Will they be able to do it, though? It looks like...
Oh, no, nice ward. Spotted out. So Dignitas Mirage going to immediately get those recalls off, but this allows Surenfire to be able to go right into the top side, put down some vision. Gonna know exactly where Kiami is right out of the gates.
And with that, Cloud9 Academy thwart the early play, the possible only early play coming out of Dignitas Mirage thus far. And really, that's the optimism that you look
Sam,
for. What?
We've had 2 games so far. Of course, it's the only one that we've seen.
100% of games, no early kills. Look it up. That's the stat.
I feel like you're cheating. I feel like I'm being swindled here. Oh, but this is actually a nice red trinket coming in from Yami. To be able to at least take away some vision, but unfortunately, it is still going to be the vision nonetheless that Surenfire has the location of Yami starting on this top side of the map, knowing that he's going to be probably going for the full clear to pretty much trade it out for Scuttlecrab and Scuttlecrab, and might even be looking for an early play into the bot lane.
Well, this is the signature play for Dignitas Mirage. Set Hiyami up towards the top side to start, go towards the bot side, bring Dragoon in, and I feel like on Aatrox, it's going to happen.
He's just waiting. He's waiting for Dragoon. Oh, no, he's poked out a little too soon. The minions were getting low enough. He's like, nah, I gotta get some farm. I can't wait forever on this one. Both of them losing out on 1 minion.
Hate to see it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Does Dragoon get this one?
Nope. Not gonna happen.
It's over. It's doomed.
Yep, 1 CS difference. Call it.
Yep, that's all it is.
But Darshan right playing well. I do like just siding in the bush, making sure that he denies the minions. Dragoon gonna have to wait until the wave pushes in before he really starts to get that cash flowing.
Speaking of waves getting pushed in, copy mid lane. Just trying to be able to clear out and freeze this minion wave right outside of the turret range, but this allows DNA to actually have a really smart call to be able to immediately go towards the bottom half, since that is where Hiyami's going to want to play. They want to make it so they know where Surenfire is. Having just completed his full clear on the bot side of the map, they now have at least a bit of a timer on where this Udyr is and when he's going to be able to impact the lane.
And you can see Hiyami full clear towards the top side, going to do probably a 6 camp bot, and then go towards bot, or most likely, just getting both the camps at the same time. We'll be able to make the gank down bot. I feel like more than anything, he wants to make sure he gets a ward down, but he's going to have to rely on Meech or King to push out in order to do that, because he did start with Sweeper, and the teleport areas for Dragoon are a little limited right now.
Might actually go for the Scuttlecrab first and then look for this play, since the wave is frozen pretty far back for the side of Cloud9 Academy. This gives a lot of ample time for Hyami to get even more, be able to heal up just a bit to be able to try to look for that play. But right now, we're looking at a dive top lane on a Dragoon. Not going to be able to escape this with the bear slap. They even have it impaled into the wall. The damage coming in is going to be first blood for Copy.
Oh, but burning 2 flashes, it's not a kill, but at the very least you are making sure that that does not happen again. There's no teleport, there's no flashes coming out of Darshan or Schernfire, so at the very least the dive gonna be hard. However, using his own teleport means they cannot make the play down bot. Hyami pathing towards the top side, and looking back at that play, it's just simple to get Darshan outside the range back, Schernfire into the turret range forward, and Copy right in front. But the nice thing that Dragoon did was using 2 knockups on his Q first in order to get the 3rd knockup onto Schernfire after getting knocked back by the Vayne.
Exactly. It's one of those things, it's a nice attempt from Dragoon to be able to burn as much as possible, and not even burning his flash. That's a big win for Dragoon, where that is a certain death scenario, unless he completely ran for the hills, and even then, you could see the position from Darshan, from Schernfire to make sure that they could cut off any retreat from him. But at the end of the day, it still puts him behind. He had to TP into the top lane, which means that play bot lane is completely ruined for Dignitas Mirage, so they have to find something else. You can see that King is hanging around this bot side, the middle lane. What am I saying? Getting the flash as well, looking for the stun.
Very well done.
Kill with the undertow auto attack. DNA takes him down.
King, very good patience coming in for the early rotation onto the out of position Copy right there. Very uncharacteristic, but a nice flash play coming in from King in order to make that play work. And also Hyami there for the backup and the assist goal. Very well played by Dignitas Mirage. This is the teamwork that I was hoping to see last game.
And now look at this. Hyami continuing to try to make plays elsewhere. Looking to see if they can push and unfreeze this wave, making it a bit easier for Dragoon, so that he's not really losing too much. You can already see that Darshan's been able to get a pretty good CS lead, and how he had that lane frozen right outside of the turret range made it difficult for Dragoon to do anything, because if he stepped up, he took so much damage from Darshan just with the silver gold proc alone.
There's just so much that you have to worry about against the Vayne top, and speaking of worry,
with this heal and flash, though, good grenades on King. Gonna be able to get the stun and Ferromancy away from Isles. Meech absorbed a lot of that without having to extend anything to be able to survive.
Just having good positioning there towards the turret as the play began. So all he had to do was step back a little bit, put the Flame Chompers out, and Schernfire coming in for a play of his own.
Gotta be careful, though. You don't want to try to dive DNA under the turret, not when Scatter the Weak is still up, and that is why Schernfire wanted to back out of that one. No flash still available for him. It was a smart call to be able to kind of scare away DNA, but I want to see what Hyami's able to make do. Schernfire's nearby. He's going to spot out that Hyami's looking for the play, looking for the stun. They got it on top of King. Rock jump away, but the Ignite is ticking away. They're going to get the undertow onto Isles, try to see if they can get a little bit more range to be able to get the zap on Isles to chase down with Schernfire.
Teleport.
TP in behind. Who's going to die first? Flash in from Hyami. Going to be able to take down Isles, but here's Darshan. Condemn into the wall to take down Hyami. Looking for King as well. Going to be able to get a double kill for Darshan inside of the alcove. Looking to be able to get the silver bolt shot, but a nice Scatter the Weak.
Nice!
Wave draws back in. The flash coming in from Meech. He's going to be able to get himself a double kill. He's excited, but he finally finished off with the clockwork from Copy. That was a messy fight on both sides.
What an alcove play coming out of Dignitas Mirage. They're able to go in there, get the kill onto Darshan, make sure that his teleport is in fact punished, but Cloud9 Academy, they came in with the reaction. They knew the 3-man was coming, and King, crucially, manages to get out of the way at the very start of that play.
And when you look at the replay from this, it's a bit unfortunate for Hyami. He doesn't realize that Schernfire was that close, so that's why they try to force so quickly to get as much as they can out of Cloud9 Academy.
Yeah, you could see Schernfire trying to just buy time, trying to get a little bit more for Isles, making sure he can get in, but Isles was already doomed to die. I don't know that he needed to commit that much, even knowing Darshan and Copy were coming in. It just felt like overcommits at the wrong time from Cloud9 Academy.
But I will say, this was a wild fight.
Sure
it
was.
All over the place. And honestly, I don't even know who it really benefited the most in this one. It felt like it was a pretty split-even fight, and split-even's the best case scenario for Dignitas Mirage, isn't it?
I feel like Dignitas Mirage also got a couple more summoner spells out of it. Getting the teleport, crucially, from Darshan, while allowing Dragoon to just kind of get waves, is going to be really important as the game goes on. But the thing is, Cloud9 Academy managed to put the gold onto Darshan, so he's still pretty far ahead. Still going to be able to bully Dragoon in lane, and it's still a little while until the teleport comes up. With Dragon already in, no one's taken it quite yet. it's just back and forth, Magical. But Dignitas Mirage still looking more solid at the 8-minute and 30-second mark than last game.
Yep, it's a little bit more solid, and hopefully they're going to be able to maintain that. They still have these good scaling options. Having a Jinx, having a Syndra, going to be able to have that outplay button where all you have to do is press R onto King, onto Darshan, making it a little bit easier for DNA. Plus, you have split push options. Even if it is an Aatrox into a Vayne, and not necessarily going to be the easiest to split push, it's something that you can utilize, and having those flank opportunities too. A lot is working towards Dignitas Mirage that wasn't really there last time around.
And a lot of that comes down to just the jungle presence. Hyami's able to be in the bot lane. He's able to get the slows easily onto Isles and King, and that makes it really tough to deal with these ganks. He actually poses a threat at this point in the game.
Looking to see if they can get the flash stun on top of King, but he was able to flash away himself. DNA has rotated down. They're looking for this dive. King, Isles, they've realized that the minions are going to be able to spell in. And now with the TP away, you can see Dignitas Mirage going to try to see if they can retreat out of this one, but the shockwave might be used to be able to draw back in Hyami instead. Just going to be waited out. They don't have Surenfire in a position to be able to have the counter attack yet.
The Giga Brain play forced the teleport, and now there's an easy way back to mid. So DNA, 6 CS lead. Genius.
I mean, it's something, and he's even going to be able to get the blue buff on the way there as well. So you're not really losing out on too much, gaining, in fact, off of the play with some ward control into the bottom half of the river. There's not really a way that Surenfire can keep that same lead that he did last time. Even though you are seeing a CS lead for Surenfire over Hyami, it's not quite as devastating as it was last time when it was this huge CS differential between the two junglers, but also Hyami not able to impact these lanes with his ganks like you're currently seeing to make it a little bit easier when they're going to try to probably contest around the Rift Herald, around the dragons.
Well, it's funny you bring up dragons because I also want to note how much attention Hyami has brought to the bot lane means there's no dragons that have been taken by Cloud9 Academy. 10 minutes, 31 seconds into the game, Magical. Neither side has been able to go for this neutral objective. And I feel like that's going to be very telling as the game goes on because no early Dragon Soul is going to be available, and this is just going to come down to Barons.
It is. I mean, it's also going to come down to maybe a little bit earlier into the game on how they're able to take down these structures, since Surenfire was able to get that Rift Herald earlier on, pretty much uncontested. Now looking to be able to find a way to place it down, probably for Darshan to be able to get this Vayne continuing to be able to dominate for Dragoon here. You can see the CS difference between these two is enormous.
Oh,
now,
not again.
Dragoon, World Ender has been popped, but it's just the 1v1 on the side right now. Dragoon has been fighting against Surenfire while Darshan's trying to get the minions back, so it's a lot of damage coming in from Dragoon.
Has the flash.
For the bear slap to be able to try to see if he can take him down, flash away. Yami's finally been able to show up. Darshan not helping out means that Dragoon can survive.
And with that, Surenfire still has the Baron or the Rift Herald available. Could use it topside, probably will, but Hyami might just chase him off.
Yeah, not even gonna try to pop it at all. Gonna back out of that one completely. I thought they might have, well, try to see if they can use it, see if they can get the TP out of Dragoon so they can have that lead, since Darshan's TP is gonna come out soon. They opt not to. Maybe looking to see if they can crack a lot more of the plates mid lane, and maybe even try to get that tier 1, seeing as that is going to be crucial to be able to contain Hyami.
Looking at the vision right now, Cloud9 Academy, because they haven't been able to amass a huge lead yet, they haven't been able to get those forward wards that they were able to do last game. The Dragon and the bot side of River have been warded by Dignitas Mirage, and with that, they at least know what's coming. They know that Udyr can't sneak a Dragon easily, and Surenfire is going to have to find another route into this game.
And that he is going to try to see if he can maybe make a play towards that mid lane, towards the top lane, since those are where they have pretty sizable leads. Having 2 kills on top of Copy, you can already see a massive, I already mentioned the massive CS lead for Darshan over Dragoon as well. These are opportunities that they can make use of. Vayne's not quite just the late game scaling champion that she once was, and I've mentioned this many times on many other casts, with how she's kind of changed with the new mythic items. She feels so much more powerful at the 1, even 2 item spikes as opposed to before where she really needed to be able to get up to 3 items.
And it looks like it's going to be a little while before... Actually, Darshan might be close to money for that mythic item. I believe that, yep, Kraken Slayer picked up just as we're talking about it. So that's
there
going to be the very strong Vayne, the 1 item Vayne going to be against Dragoon. And he's not going to have a good answer for this because he started the plated steel caps. It's going to be a little while before he completes his own mythic item, or even a completed item, should he choose to go that way first. But that said, Dragon is up, Rift Herald's been popped, few plates go over to Cloud9 Academy, and for the moment, Dignitas Mirage They have found footing. It's just not enough to force a lead quite yet.
Bit surprised by the use of that Rift Herald. I thought for sure that we'd see a force onto the Dragon coming in from Cloud9 Academy, but instead just getting that little bit of plate gold before the plates fall off, having that put into the pockets of both Copy and Surenfire is going to be a bit nice. So you're already seeing there is a little bit of a CS lead for DNA, despite the fact that you've gotten these 2 kills on a Copy. It's not necessarily the easiest lane, right, going into Syndra, who can clear out minion waves so quickly, scatter the weak to stay safe as well.
And there's not really a good engage yet unless you have Isles coming into the mid side, which so far he's been hesitant to do. He's been forced to stay in the bot lane with King just to make sure he's not dove himself. As I say that, going to be moving over towards that mid side and maybe even make a play towards top. But as I say that again, goes back and DNA keeps safe.
Yeah, I feel like it's just they read the play. There's not the Rift Herald just yet. Going to be about, 45 seconds until it's going to respawn here. So they call back Isles towards the bot side of the map. They didn't want to relent too much control around the Dragon Pit. As you can see, a lot more wards have been placed down by Dignitas Mirage to be able to claw back some of that advantage that they need to on this bottom half of the map.
And Cloud9 Academy, they haven't drafted as much engage as they did before. It's all down to Isles and possibly Surenfire in order to get it done. But King going in himself.
King, he had buffered it, but it's going to be the Scatter of the Weak on top of Isles. Going to be able to get the Ferromancer's Shield to be able to survive on the other side. Copy is looking to see if he can have the flank. They even have TP from Darshan if they need be. But here's going to be Surenfire getting the Ragnarok pop out of Kiami, getting the rest of Dignitas Mirage to want to leave the fight completely too afraid of what might happen on the other side of the map, because Darshan's not even bothering. He's looking to see if he can get the 1v1 fight against Dragoon. He's even popped the final hour with World Ender coming in, trying to get away. The damage is just too much, and he gets himself the solo kill.
Just missed too many abilities against Darshan, and therefore Dragoon found himself out of swords. Darshan finds the perfect engage and auto attacks to death with final hour. With that, Cloud9 Academy feel emboldened, will be able to take the Dragon and likely put a lot of pressure down in mid.
And with the Dragon, with the pressure in mid, with the lead top lane, what seemed like a close game for Dignitas Mirage has again been exploited by these tiny details that have not been going their way, where Cloud9 Academy have been able to exploit the smallest of weaknesses coming in from Dignitas Mirage.
But here's the big difference between last game and this game, Magical. The engage coming in from Dignitas Mirage, much more solid than that of Cloud9 Academy, barely missing out on that. But Dignitas Mirage, they have the ability to go in. They don't really have to worry about that from Cloud9 Academy. If Rel comes in, it's a pretty one-dimensional thing. It's either flash or come in with a crash down. King has the ability to deal with that. He can also deal with Surenfire, should Surenfire want to come in with Bear Slap. Unfortunately for Dignitas Mirage, they do also have to worry about King, who can capitalize on anything, but I feel like that's much more manageable than last game.
Oh, Flash, Magnet Storm, each has the bomb on top of him. Boom goes the dynamite to take him down to the 2v2 fight. And unfortunately for King, he's trying to see if he can run away from the other King. Well, mid lane, we're having more of these skirmishes.
Nice flash
away. It's a double kill in the bot lane, but mid lane, unleashed power. Solo kill coming in from DNA.
DNA, very nice to capitalize on the bot side getting taken out. Knew that there was no jungler pressure because Hiami had eyes on Surenfire and was able to flash out of a shockwave in a very, very nice maneuver.
Honestly, that was impressive, but now, poor
Ragnarok
Hiami trying to be able to get away, but look at the damage from Darshan. It's just so much.
And you can see the elements of the Ginsu's being built up for Darshan. He's going to be a very scary Vayne as we approach the 17-minute mark.
Sam, wasn't this a close game like 2 minutes ago? What happened?
You know, you get a couple picks, you lose out on a Dragon, and suddenly Cloud9 Academy find themselves once again in the lead for this series. And if they manage to win this one, Magical, that's it for Dignitas Mirage. They'll be going to the lower bracket.
That they will. I mean, this is the David versus Goliath story, as you can see right now. Unfortunately, it seems like Goliath is finding these leads. Bot lane, having the 2v2 fight, it was expected. We knew that one King was better than the other here.
It's like Goliath brought a drone for himself, just able to do so much more than you would expect, even though he had the overwhelming advantage already. So Dignitas Mirage, they're trying to make plays, but I don't know if this is the one.
Unfortunate. It's the shockwave back in from King. Look at the damage he was taking from Copy, command, attack again, looking to see if he can get one more, but King will barely be able to get away.
And it was at least a move that was proactive coming out of Dignitas Mirage. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen at this stage in the game. There's a Shockwave available. You saw the team already collapsing for Cloud9 Academy. It's just not going to be easy to find these picks, and the people that you want to pick are pretty slippery. You have King able to jump out. You have Darshan able to just roll away from anything that gets too scary. And Dignitas Mirage, the only long-range engage they have is DNA, if he gets a good Scout of the Week.
And that's going to be the thing. It's like, once that Scatter of the Week is down, it's pretty easy to be able to punish. You can see King trying to be able to get away. Unleash power.
Rocket.
Unfortunately, the rocket just doesn't do enough damage. The heal was enough for King. I don't even think he needed to necessarily use it. It was more just being safe because not knowing where the rest of Dignitas Mirage are.
Yeah, Meech is only level 10, so that would have been a level 1 rocket. Definitely not enough to take out King at even 40% health. Meech, you know, he has a good score line. He's still keeping up in CS. He just doesn't have the ability to get into fights, and that's the weakness of Jinx, is the inability to be the solo carry, the inability to peel for yourself. You have to rely on the rest of the team in order to come up, and unfortunately, Dignitas Mirage just don't have the time or the space to do that.
And that's oftentimes why you see Thresh, Tom Kench be the options to draft with Jinx, just so you have that added safety to her. Make it so that you don't have to worry about it as much, because right now you're worrying about a lot. Even though DNA is also going to be a good carry for the team, sitting 2-0-2, if your Jinx is dead and you already used your unleashed power as Syndra, you don't have really that kill threat anymore. And who are you really going to focus down? Darshan, Comfy, King? You only take one of them out of the fight, the other two still remain.
And with that, I mean, Dignitas Mirage are just trying their best right now. They're clearing waves. They're making sure the side lane pressure is fine.
Oh, Sam.
What? What?
Darshan just finished the Ginsu's, and Dragoon's still working on his Mythic.
I think he's close to it. I feel like...
I think so too, but he has the gold. This is such a rough lane. He's about to get Flame Horizon. It's the counter pick that we weren't expecting to see the Vayne counter pick, but it was a counter pick that we expected nonetheless into Aatrox. When you draft that blind, trying to save DNA's pick for the last in mid lane, means that Dragoon's kind of put in a position that if something like this happens, where you have this Vayne that's able to completely scale and be able to snowball over him, it's a full item difference between the two here at 20 minutes.
It really feels like Darshan's warming up more than anything. He's just picking these off-the-wall picks purely for the lane counter, doesn't even care about the team fight as much, and he's able to succeed so well with it that you can't even fault him for it. He's just flexing right now, and he is showing why his years of experience are coming in clutch in this match.
They are, when he's sitting 3-1-3 on Vayne, able to have this immense amount of pressure in whatever lane he's in, where Dragoon feels like he has to hang around all the way by his turn, so he's not even probably going to be able to join with the Shockwave landing on two. Great wombo combo coming in from Cloud9 Academy. Though, gotta be careful, Surenfire barely alive. They were able to take down the cow. Body block from the rocket. DNA on the other side. Scout of the Week, not used just yet. Not even gonna be able to connect. Surenfire still alive, finally.
Dragoon!
Dragoon. King trying to be able to get a wave, but Meech is excited. Gonna be able to get the rocket.
Nice crit.
A shutdown over King.
Oh man, just barely able to get that last auto attack. Dignitas Mirage, out of nothing, they managed to find the counter attack. With that, Baron is on the table, and I feel like they're gonna start this one up, Magical.
But Isles and both Darshan are here. They could try to see if they want to contest this 2v4. TP coming back in from Coffee. Not going to be able to have the Shockwave. Not going to be able to have the Magnet Storm. They might be able to peel off. Yami's pretty low. Look at the damage on top of Dragoon. Dragoon dies to the command attack. Dignitas Mirage had to completely bail out of the pit.
Cloud9 Academy, they knew they had the teleport. They have all the pressure that they need, and Dignitas Mirage, with that slight breath of life that they managed to get, the second win wasn't enough, and Cloud9 Academy are continuing their relentless push onto the mid lane.
Keep in mind, that was essentially a 4v5 fight for Dignitas Mirage. Darshan never joins in. He has TP available, but he decides not to go.
It starts off as this 4v3. You could see Syndra already pathing down. You could see also the top laner coming in. But for Cloud9 Academy, they still have all the space in the world. Surenfire is safe for so long in this fight that even though they win and get the kill, it's not enough. They needed to kill him immediately, and they don't have the capability to do it, Magical.
I will say there was also a really unfortunate scatter of the week
Yeah.
for DNA, where somehow the dodgeballs went right around Coffee. Had those connected, I imagine Coffee's dead. You only have Isles and Darshan trying to see if they can defend this, and it might be a lot easier for Dignitas Mirage, but because Coffee lives, look at the damage he's able to get with one command attack.
And really, it's just the teleport timing that Dignitas Mirage should have been counting on. That Baron play was a little too risky. Could have instead gone for the turret, decided against it. And I have to fault that decision because you know the teleport is at the very least probably up. And you have the vision to know that, you know, Dragoon is going to be a bad match for Darshan and Isles is still alive.
Oh man, Fire on this Udyr, he is so confident with themselves. He is not afraid of anybody pretty much finding him. He was like, you know, I'm taking this ward, we're getting vision control of the top quadrant of the map. This is now ours, so we can set up around this Baron. We don't have to worry about the dragon. It's still 2 minutes out until showtime. And again, Cloud9 Academy looking dominant on this map. They have, what is that, a 6,000, almost 7,000 gold lead. And with it, TP in from Darshan once they see that 2 members are bought.
And I don't think there's anything Dignitas Mirage can really do against this. They know what's happening. The rocket
Hail
comes
Mary!
in. Oh my!
Rocket! Meech! You done did it! Way to go, man!
Meech with the game-saving rocket gives us the thumbs up. What an amazing timing coming out of the Jinx. Oh my goodness, you don't see that very often, Magical, but when you do, it is certainly something magical.
I mean, I feel like I've been seeing these rocket steals so many times this year. Over in the LPL, I've seen it at least 4 times. Seeing it here from Meech again. It is always, always amazing to see. And that is going to buy a lot of time for Dignitas Mirage to be able to get themselves back in this game and try to see if they can find these little victories. Getting the Baron now, try to see if maybe they can stop that Dragon Take coming in from Cloud9 Academy to deny them from getting it into sole points that they really would like to be able to have to continue to dominate this map.
And with that, Meech is just getting the time that he needs. You talked about buying time. It's necessary for Dignitas Mirage. Meech is scaling up. He has the Lord Dominix now, along with 2 other items. He's looking pretty strong, and will be able to go head-to-head with King. And with one more, I feel like he's going to be able to actually team fight well against Cloud9 Academy as a whole. Dignitas Mirage, they have the tools available. They just need to find the timings that they've just barely eked by so far this game.
But unfortunately, it does seem, despite the fact they have the Baron, not going to be able to defend this mid that's being harassed. So they're trying to make a play onto Copy, onto Isles. Keep in mind, Fire is on the flank. This is the attempted Dragon Take coming in from Dignitas Mirage. They want so badly to be able to deny this from Cloud9. That way, they don't have to worry about the solo point. But how much are you willing to risk? It's down to 50%. Fire looking to see if he can get into the back line. There's a lot of damage down, but Hyami's forced to win. Isles flank huge coming in with that Magnet Sword, but he's going to die first in the fight. And now Dragoon into the back line. They're going to be able to heal a little bit, try to see if they can get back on top of Dragoon while Darshan's doing so much damage to him. There's no way he can get away from Darshan. He rules that top lane. Scatter the Weak with Unleashed Power takes the kill, and they're going to be able to get Fire.
Meech!
And look at Meech. He's excited. They've got themselves a dragon. Darshan trying to be able to get away, but Meech wants to chase him down. Tap not going to be able to connect, but it doesn't need to.
Flash for it!
Just needs to be able to get one more crit, one more shutdown for Meech.
Oh man, Dignitas Mirage from the back, from the ashes. They are able to rise again, and Hyami just so good on that play, able to stay alive. It looked so bad at first with Isles and his incredible gank, but he didn't have the follow-up Magical. Cloud9 Academy, a little bit of miscommunication there led Dignitas Mirage to have a miraculous comeback.
This is huge. Look at the swing of gold for Dignitas Mirage now, where they were 7,000 gold behind nearly 4 or 5 minutes ago. Now they've been able to shrink that down to within 4,000 as we take a look at this replay. Like you said, Isles, it's a beautiful flank, but nobody's there.
Honestly, it's all on King's back. He's able to just get a beautiful pulverize at the start of the fight, making sure that Cloud9 Academy could not pass the cow. And from there, DNA goes forward, uses all his abilities, and is able to get the damage down to deal with Fire as well as Orianna. Too much for Copy to handle. Darshan from the end of it, he just gets chased down. There's nothing you can do about that.
No, he tries his best. No flash, though. No tumble. Finally gets the tumble, but it's too late. Meech was already in range, and like we said, this is a huge swing for Dignitas Mirage. Their composition has these scaling options. They got Jinx, they got Syndra. You even have a great front line in both Dragoon, Hyami, and then King on top of it, too. They got to be careful. Now, look at Cloud9 Academy. They've been able to kind of get themselves back, lick their wounds a bit, with Darshan grabbing himself a GA on top of a Hex Drinker. You have 3 items now completed by King, nearly getting that 3rd item completed. Well, actually got a little bit since it's going to be components coming in from Copy, but that's all he needs is to be there for the Shockwave.
And Dragoon keeping a little bit of dangerous positioning here, but maybe even baiting a little bit because the rest of Dignitas Mirage is there to back him up. They lose a turret, but at this point in the game, Magical, the fact that they haven't lost an inhibitor yet is incredible. They've been able to find these amazing team fights off the back of Cloud9 Academy mistakes, and if that happens again, it could very well lead to a much more substantial lead for Dignitas.
Good, and I'm looking at a lot of the inventories coming in on the side of Dignitas Mirage. Look at how many stopwatches you see. You see Dragoon's got his. You already have the Zonius completed by DNA. Meech holding on to a stopwatch, not quite yet at the GA point. And if they can hold on long enough to be able to get that GA for Meech, that could be huge, knowing that you're going to be able to compete against Darshan's.
It's going to be almost enough, but honestly, Darshan is kind of in a league of his own. That said, I don't know that he can be alone. Like, yes, the teleports are available for Cloud9 Academy, but he's still in such a squishy position. The Guardian Angel won't save him for very long, and even that Hex Drinker, not going to be enough if the entirety of Dignitas Mirage collapses on him.
But then again, how many people do you want to send and risk into the bot lane to stop Darshan in order to be able to get him when there might be a Baron? Surenfire took a lot of damage from Dignitas Mirage. Going to be able to have to back themselves out a little bit to be able to hold on to a little bit of control of their own jungle.
Oh, this teleport's aggressive.
Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is an interesting TP coming in. While you lose the inhibitor mid lane, Dignitas Mirage wanted to be able to stop the bot lane from falling too, but unfortunately, they've lost their inhibitor turret mid, which gives a lot more control back over to Cloud9.
And the Baron spawning in, Magical. 15 seconds left on that timer. You feel like Cloud9 Academy has just been positioning this entire time for it. The wards are there. The people are there. Vayne is in position for the teleport. And Darshan, looking pretty strong right now, is going to be pretty hard to stop by Dragoon himself.
Well, and this is the problem with using that TP into the bot lane for DNA to try to stop Darshan. You cannot be able to join Dragoon into the bot lane anymore. You have to completely bail out of that one, which means Dragoon's going to be alone against Darshan. He can't go 1v1 against that Vayne. That is way too much of a lead, a 2-level lead for Darshan with how many items he has over that Aatrox as well. This is going to be difficult for Dignitas Mirage, giving this control again to Cloud9.
As crazy as it is, Dignitas Mirage might have more success sending DNA to the bot side to answer Vayne because Dragoon, even though he has the teleport, is more than likely to just die. Straight 1v1. DNA, at the very least, is going to be able to A, stop the teleport, or B, get the kill onto Vayne because even with all of the stuff that Vayne has, the GA, the Hex Drinker, it's not enough to deal with a fully fed DNA.
No, that is true. That is true. But at the same time, it's what works better, the GA or the Zonias at this point.
True.
You can only do so much out of DNA to be able to get rid of that GA. And once he's back up, you don't have your cycle of spells anymore. It's going to be difficult with Cloud9 starting themselves onto this Baron. They've seen how far away Dignitas Mirage. Do you have another Hail Mary play? They peel off to make sure there's no Smite Steal coming in from that rocket.
And with that shot, looks like the Buster shot was enough
Darshan! Look at Darshan!
Yeah, look at Darshan! He's winning the game!
Is anyone gonna stop him? You're trying to get this Baron. It's down to 50%, but Darshan might just end the game.
Shockwave!
Shockwave onto 2 members. The bomb might kill Hyami on the other side. Trying to get away. It does, in fact, kill him. All the while, Darshan's still in the base. You got the Baron, but at what cost? Dignitas Mirage. Everyone's dying. They're trying. They're damnedest to be able to get back to the base, but King shut them down. They've got 2, but it's still Darshan and Copy. Inside the base, the back door. It works out well for Cloud9. 2-0 victory over Dignitas Mirage.
And in very Darshan fashion, a backdoor ends the game. No one was left to answer him, and Dignitas Mirage fall to the strategy coming out of Cloud9 Academy.
Woo, what a game. That is for sure between those two teams. It seemed like Dignitas Mirage were able to claw themselves back in slowly into that game, but unfortunately, nobody could deal with Darshan. Nobody felt confident trying to go for that 1v1, and once DNA had lost that TP, the only one you could send down there was Dragoon, and an Aatrox against Vayne matchup. We saw how that works out.
Really doesn't. And Darshan didn't even look for the teleport at the very end of that play, knowing that Baron was going to be taken, knowing that it was going to be taken by Dignitas Mirage. It didn't matter. He had the play, he had the ability to push the bot lane, and Copy had teleport, so he had the backup. There was nothing that Dignitas Mirage had for the answer. They just kind of went for the Baron, their only possible play, and Cloud9 Academy went for their play, which is the Nexus.
Exactly, and when we take a look at this game, it was a lot of Cloud9 knowing what they wanted to do, which was funnel as much as possible into Darshan, having him be the ultimate win condition.
It really just, there's not a lot you can do when you're countered in lane constantly, able to just not do a single thing. Darshan had full control both games, and even this time you could see him roaming down, getting kills onto Hiyami, and in the split push, he was unstoppable. This play made it look like Dignitas Mirage had some life left in them, but again, they had everything except an answer to Darshan, who ultimately won the game.
Right, because Darshan doesn't TP into this play, despite the fact that he has TP this entire time, opting instead to see what his team was going to be able to do while he was taking turrets, while he was getting more gold funneled into himself.
And Meech, again, he's just one of those carries that manages to do so much in this game, but unfortunately, Jinx can't do anything by herself. She needs King, she needs Dragoon in order to be there and be the big beefy line. Otherwise, Meech is gonna die every single play and not get the damage down that all the gold was just he could do.
Exactly. It was just a bit unfortunate for the side of Dignitas Mirage, where it seemed like they were finally getting into their position that they felt confident, but it was too late. You know, it was too late for them to be able to get a lot of that. And with that, it's a 2-0 victory for Cloud9 Academy. The number 1 seed, we expected them to look strong, and in this one, Vayne Tryndamere, what a way to start off the Proving Grounds to be able to pick up that 2-0 and move on to round 2.
And that's just the upper bracket. It's not like Dignitas Mirage is at the end of their game quite yet.
True.
They are still rolling through this track in the lower bracket. So the rematch is possible. They will have to play against the loser of the next series that they're going to be up against. We'll have to wait to see that. But for now, Cloud9 Academy looking pretty confident, looking pretty good, and they're on form, Magical.
That they are. They are really on form to be able to try to see what they're going to be able to do and how they're going to be able to kind of roll through a lot of this Proving Grounds tournament. This is a team that came in hyped up. Well, a lot of people were putting them as their S tier alongside Team Liquid Academy, of the teams that you're expecting to be towards the finals, towards the end of it all, where who knows what team's going to be able to win out of those two. But with this kind of performance out of Cloud9 Academy to start it off, I'm going to keep talking about it. Tryndamere and Vayne, what a way to start off a tournament.
I like the flexibility, and I like that Darshan really didn't have to show his hand. If anything, he just kind of showed what kind of flexibility he has as a player, able to just throw out a lane counter in order to win everything up and not show what the team as a whole can do. It was just really the one-man show, if I'm being fully honest.
Which makes me wonder how they're going to do going forward, if they're going to continue to play this interesting style, or if it's going to become a little bit more meta out of them. We already knew that the Vayne counter pick into Aatrox was something that Darshan likes to play. The Tryndamere into Gangplank wasn't one that we knew, but after a little bit of research, was able to show why that Tryndamere pick came out of Darshan at the end of the day, and makes me curious just to see how the rest of Cloud9 Academy are going to play outside of Darshan. Like Schernfire only played Udyr both games, and he looked great. He was able to get a lot of control in the early game, but I do want to see a little bit more than just Udyr gameplay.
Yeah, and Copy also was struggling just a little bit in lane. You saw the 1v1 go completely not his way in what was usually a reasonable matchup between Syndra and Orianna. It feels like there could have been more done, and maybe Copy needs to just get a little more aggressive in some of those lanes, and maybe this needs to be Schernfire putting a little bit more support towards that mid side.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more. I do believe that we were trying to see if we can get an interview going here in just a little bit to be able to talk that. So we're still working on that behind the scenes. So it gives us a little bit of time to talk about what we've seen in this tournament, and also a little bit more on Dignitas Mirage. I kind of want to talk a bit about them because we were highlighting a lot on Cloud9 Academy, Dignitas Mirage definitely had some shining moments in that game, where in both games, where you can see the makings of this team, where if it was just unfortunately not against Cloud9 Academy, maybe they might have been able to pick up a victory. Like in that second game, you just have to deal with a split pushing Vayne. Normally, you don't have to deal with that. Normally, you're in a better position where it's like, okay, you actually were able to steal the Baron, you got yourself the second Baron, maybe you're going to be able to have a bit of a better fight, but when you have to deal with the Darshan pushing on the side lanes, it's not really going to be the easiest time.
No, but you know what will be easy is having Darshan pushing into this interview slot, because I hear that we have him on the line, and I am excited to talk to this topic.
As am I. It's going to be our player interview presented by Verizon Wireless. Welcome in, Darshan. It's great to have you, and congratulations on your victory. And I'm going to start it off right away. I'm going to go right into it and say the Tryndamere pick. What's the science behind that?
I mean, he's just a split pusher, and he's just a good champ. I think there's a lot of champs that you can play in competitive, but you have to kind of make the effort to figure out how to play it when it's good, and you got to make sure you're not inting your team at the same time. So it's a fine science that I think people could be a little more creative.
Now, in the study of trendemology, is this something that we're going to see more throughout the season? Is this something that's incredibly powerful, or is this just a specific pick in this specific instance against Dignitas Mirage?
Yeah, no, I think people should be playing Tryndamere in every region. I think he's a really strong pick. I think that he's got really good scaling and split pushing, and split pushing isn't really something that's meta right now. It is something that requires your whole team to play well around it. So yeah, I think Tryndamere is one of the few split pushers you could play in this meta, and I think, he's just a good champ.
And speaking of split pushing, obviously in both these games, they kind of did fall back onto you for that split pushing, such as the play where you were completely pushing in the bot lane and being able to win out that game. I just want to know the comms behind that. Was it pretty much your team just saying, oh, we got the Baron, and you're like, no, backdoor, I got this.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've backdoored a Nexus, so I really just wanted to backdoor for old time's sake. But no, actually, I think it was just, in the situation, it was the best thing I could do. I can always TP into the fight too, but in a situation where they're rushing Baron like that, you just have the choice to go for the backdoor, and yeah, it feels nice to do that once in a while.
It definitely does, and especially seeing a victory like that, you must feel pretty confident. Are there any teams in this tournament, in the Proving Grounds, that you're looking out for, that you're really trying to research against, or that you really want to play against?
Not one team comes to mind particularly, but I'm hoping that each of my teammates gets to shine, because I think they're really good. So I think look forward to seeing each of my teammates carry games in the future series, because I think they're all really good players.
And I think you guys will all be able to do that. We look at how Cloud9 Academy was able to play here. You guys did amazingly. And I'll just ask you really quick, just if we look at the bracket, I believe the potential teams for you to play against are 100 Thieves Academy and Zeus Gaming as the two that are going to be competing against you. So which two of... Oh, it's TSM Academy, my bad. So which of those two do you actually expect to face off against in round 2?
I think Zeus beat TSM before in... the series, right, in the qualifiers. So I think Zeus, it would make sense that Zeus would win, and it's been a while since I played against Alarum, actually, so that'd be fun. He's always got the Yorick and the Urgot and stuff, so that'd be fun.
Could very well be the case, but Darshan, I got one last question for you, and I gotta ask. When West Rice reviews this VOD, is there anything he's gonna look at in particular from your play, and he's gonna say, don't do that again?
Yeah, I had a couple ints. Game 1 and game 2. I think I flashed backwards once on Vayne when I tumbled, and I lost a solo kill. A few other ones like that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff to review on, but happy we could pull out the win.
Well, I'm glad you guys were able to pull out that victory as well. Thank you, Darshan, for doing this interview with us. It was great to hear from you. Congratulations. We're looking forward to see how you're going to do in round 2. But I believe for that one, we're going to let you go back in, go talk with West Rice and the rest of the gang of how that game went. So we really appreciated you coming in.
Thank you.
All right, but with that 2-0 victory, Cloud9 Academy potentially going up against Zeus or TSM Academy, and as he said, Zeus were able to beat TSM Academy last time we saw them. I believe that was over. I'm trying to remember if it was.
I think that was the Unified Grand Prix.
Yes, I believe it was as well. where Zeus was able to. It was a good run that they were able to have. That was I love an underdog tale, you know that. And it was one of those ones where a lot of people had kind of counted Zeus out, and they were able to make that run and prove a lot of people wrong. And here they are in the Proving Grounds to show them off and how they're going to be able to accomplish. But enough of that. I kind of want to, before we toss it to a break, talk about the upcoming match that we're going to have. It's going to be FlyQuest Academy versus Evil Geniuses Academy. So do you have a little bit of a tidbit that you'd like to tell me before we toss it off to a break?
It's going to be a match that we've seen many times before, but, it's a new patch, it's a new day, it's a new week. And I feel like this one's going to be just as exciting, if not more.
As am I. But for now, we're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we're going to get ready for our second series of the day for the Proving Grounds. So stick around.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than this, a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, as well as Discovery+, with a Galaxy S21 Plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best. Only from Verizon.